Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Big business has given Peter Gutwin's $6.4 billion budget the thumbs up as the Treasurer takes his sales pitch on the road. But there's still concern over the net debt Tasmania will rack up to pay for new infrastructure. And there's also doubts over whether an army of workers will be available to make it happen.
Moneyman Peter Gutwin hits the road with his 2019 budget, breakfasting with big business in Hobart and lunching with leaders in Launceston.
It is an infrastructure budget unashamedly, but in saying that it is a budget designed to drive our economy.
The Chamber of Commerce is sold on it.
It's a budget that keeps confidence going across Tasmania, one that supports infrastructure and, no new taxes for business and investment in business growth.
So is Deloitte.
We think it's a fairly fair and balanced budget. Tasmania's economy is still running along pretty well, not as well as it has been, but still pretty good. So I think it's a budget that's appropriate for the times.
The Treasurer's centrepiece is the $3.6 billion spend on new infrastructure, like roads, schools and hospitals. But some have doubts Tasmania will be able to bridge a professional skills shortage, with major works in Melbourne and the mainland snapping up experts.
Tasmania's lost a number of very senior engineers out of the public service. We don't believe you can just snap your fingers and have these people appear.
International investment service Moody's also warned the state could face spending struggles amid spiralling health costs. Also noted the state's liability on unfunded public service superannuation, while labelling the elephant in the room as a credit negative.
We'll be carrying at the end of 4 years around $1 billion worth of net debt. It is modest, it is manageable.
And there was this stinging rebuke to union leader Tom Lynch, who claims 1,500 jobs are on the line under planned efficiencies.
That's absolute rubbish, to be frank. Tom should know better than that.
Labor's calling the budget high in cost and low on vision.
There are no significant new infrastructure projects announced by the government in this budget. If you look at the list of infrastructure projects, most of them are existing.
But one group has also returned a happy verdict.
Well, there's some welcome news within this budget. There's the appointment of a 7th judge. The Society's been agitating for the appointment of a 7th judge since the late 1990s, and it's really wonderful to see that's now come about.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
A family has been left devastated after a fire destroyed their home and killed the family dog in West Moona overnight. The father was injured while trying to fight the blaze, which authorities have deemed accidental.
A terrifying scene facing residents in West Moona overnight. Not long before midnight, this inferno took off, and in just minutes, this home was totally destroyed.
10 past 11, they received a call from neighbours that smoke was coming from the house.
Neighbours managed to capture this footage, shocked at what they called the cruel ferocity of the blaze. Crews arriving to Robin's place within minutes, but were only able to attack externally because the roof and walls had already collapsed. The burnt-out shell, once a busy home, now incredibly dangerous. There's no choice but for this property, worth over $300,000, to be knocked down.
Totally destroyed by fire, and it's unsafe at the moment.
Authorities undertaking their investigations on the scene today, quickly deeming it accidental. One likely caused by the occupants, a father, his son and son's friend, just trying to keep warm.
A source of fuel was used to light the wood heater or boost it up, and that sort of unfortunately caught to some of the items in the house.
The trio had no choice but to flee out the back door last night, terrified for their lives, with no time to collect any possessions. The 3 occupants of the home managed to escape it while it was still burning, but one man sustained minor injuries. He was treated here at the scene by paramedics.
There's only minor injuries to the main occupant, but unfortunately a dog was found deceased in the fire in one of the bedrooms of the house.
A tragic end to a tragic accident. Louise Hedger, 7 Tasmania News.
Schools from around the Huon Valley are continuing to pull together in the wake of last summer's bushfires. Today, parents were celebrating bonds forged in the crisis, but it wasn't just for grown-ups, with bubs and toddlers also having some fun.
This grand old theatre has stood tall among floods and fires, but today it was home to hundreds of tiny feet treading the boards. In the wake of the summer emergency, locals and their little ones are reconnecting away from the evacuation centres.
My daughter absolutely loves coming and seeing all the different kids and making new friends, and yeah, it's really good.
Huonville Primary Principal Joel Doyle says it was a stressful start to the year.
It's been wonderful now to really get back into what we should be focused on, and that's the teaching and learning of the students.
Today's event also raising awareness of the Huon Valley's launching into learning. Play-based programs helping young ones transition to school.
It's nice to come together because we're learning together and we're building relationships and we're just having fun together, and that's what it's all about for little people, having fun.
But for many, today was also a day to take stock and enjoy clearer skies ahead.
When the bushfires happened, it was so great to see the whole community come together. It's amazing what an emergency situation can do, and it brings out the goodness in everybody. So it's lovely to see all the families here today just banding together.
Andrew McCarthy, 7 Tasmania News.
One of Tasmania's most dedicated administrators has been honoured at a gala awards night in Melbourne as part of National Volunteer Week. University of Tasmania Cricket Club President Charles Rose receiving recognition for leading programs promoting cultural diversity and female participation.
I think everyone just loves helping out around the club, and I'm the same. We're all very passionate, and it's great to give back to our club and our community, and we just love what we do.
Glenorchy Cricket Club and Glenorchy City Council were runners-up at the Sport for All Awards for their work returning Shoebridge Park to a turf wicket. A Tasmanian brewery has once again tasted success by taking home 7 medals at the Australian International Beer Awards. Van Diemen Brewing was up against hundreds of entrants from around the world, with a unique ingredient making all the difference on the judges' palate.
A cold glass of victory poured from a winning brew. This Tasmanian beer maker is marking the company's 10th birthday with 7 prestigious accolades.
It's something that we get to benchmark our beers up against our peers and our peers' products, so it's validation that we're doing something correct. So it's fun too. It's rewarding.
Moo Brew, Little Rivers and Shambles, just a few of the other thriving Tasmanian breweries winning top prizes at the Australian International Beer Awards in Melbourne.
Tassie per capita has the most number of breweries in Australia, so we are churning out some quality beers from some quality breweries. Other than potentially New Zealand, Tasmania is arguably the best place in the world to be producing quality beers at the moment.
And Van Diemen Brewing is no stranger to quality, with the fruited wild ale Claude awarded with a gold medal. It's said to stand out from the rest thanks to a unique ingredient.
From what we can tell from the bits of research that we've seen, green gauges are very rarely used in beer, which is one of the things that attracts us to utilising fruit like that. It's really quite aromatic, fruity.
The gold medal brew is made of green gauges grown on a neighbour's tree and is just one of the many locally sourced ingredients used by the Tasmanian company.
We do have our wood and barrel-aged and estate beers that are 100% farm-derived, so an ingredient for most of those beers hasn't travelled any more than 400 or 500 metres.
Ruby Kamane, 7 Tasmania News.
Hobart's Waterside Pavilion is playing host to a new exhibition showcasing the artistic talents of people living with a disability. Ability to Create features a range of styles, including woodworking, painting, photography and film. Open today by Councillor Bill Harvey, the exhibition runs until Sunday. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local not-for-profit Tasmanian super fund. The Australian share market has finished lower after the price of oil plunged. The ASX 200 index fell 35.8 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 68.86 US cents and 61.57 euro cents.
An Indigenous round makes its way to Launceston tomorrow, with Hawthorn potentially securing a spot back inside the top 8 with a win over Port Adelaide. The Hawks welcome back James Frawley and Chad Wingard for the clash as they look to atone for last weekend's 36-point loss to the Tigers.
We feel like we've played a fairly competitive brand of football. We just need to play it for longer in game. So that's why we love getting down here. We're familiar with the surroundings, and we love playing on this deck.
Tom Jonas and Robbie Gray return for Port with the power sitting just inside the 8.
I think it's going to be a fierce contest. You've got two sides that are thereabouts, and the competition's really tight. So every win really matters to us.
The UTAS Stadium clash gets underway at 1:45 tomorrow. And Launceston are preparing to have their hands full at KG5 tomorrow, heading into their clash with Glenorchy without coach and in-form forward Mitch Thorpe. All the Pies are keen to continue showing they're the real deal despite a horror run with injury. He's been the pillar of the Blues forward line this season, but Launceston will need to find another target against Glenorchy tomorrow as the suspended Mitch Thorpe watches on from the coach's box.
They've got some really good defenders, so we'll have to apply a lot of pressure. But we think if with the right delivery coming forward, it doesn't really matter what forward line we've got, we'll still kick a score.
And while the absence of Thorpe eases some of the pressure on Glenorchy's defence, the Pies aren't expecting anything to come easy.
A team that really comes to play has that endeavour, has that passion, and then executes what they want to do. They can be dangerous even with some pretty good players missing.
With the Blues sitting just one game clear of the Tigers at 4th on the ladder following an 18-point loss to Lauderdale, the side is set to come out firing to prove it belongs alongside the top 3 sides in the premiership debate, and the Pies coach says his men will be treating them accordingly despite heading in as hot favourites, having dropped just the one game this season.
Pile on a lot of pressure. They look to move the ball quickly and put pressure on your defence, so they're going to be a good challenge.
We don't hold any fear going into games like this because they're the teams we want to beat, and there's no pressure on us to either way. So if we can turn up, put our best foot forward, we believe we can win the game.
To soccer, and things are set to heat up in the Lacka Seljack Cup with the state's best sides gunning for a berth in the coveted FFA Cup. Olympia and South Hobart will resume their rivalry, which has turned into one of the fiercest seen in recent years. The sides have met twice this NPL season, with the Warriors claiming a hard-fought 2-1 win before recently playing out a 3-3 draw in one of the games of the year.
The game's immense, and the fight, the spirit between both camps is immense as well, so that gives everybody around the club a lift.
With a spot in the June 10 Cup final and a place among some of the country's best clubs in the FFA Cup round of 32 on the line, the Darcy Street crowd can expect things to shift up another gear on Sunday.
We've worked hard to get to this point, and there's 2 games really to lift the trophy, and that's the aim.
Certainly the mood in the camp changes a little bit, and even training gets a little bit more fierce as well. The intensity lifts and everybody's at each other.
Meanwhile, following an unexpected and inspired charge to the semis, University face a David and Goliath style matchup tomorrow up against the 2016 and 18 Cup champions Devonport at Alinda Grove. To hockey, and the Tasmanian Tigers men's and women's sides' future in the new nationwide Hockey One competition has been secured for years to come, thanks to a $400,000 boost from the state government as part of yesterday's budget. The sport's peak body also hoping the additional funding helps to boost the profile of the sport in the state and attract more young players to the code.
We can really press on, set our agenda now for the next 4 years, and it also helps our athletes now who are striving to play for the Tassie Tigers. They know that there's going to be a team, and we press on that basis.
Good evening. 19 was the state's warmest today in Hobart, 14 in Burnie and a top of 15 for Launceston and Devonport. Other centres today, 17 was a popular temperature across Grove, Ouse and Friendly Beaches, 15 in Strawn, Smithton and Lowhead, and a high of 19 for Flinders Island and St Helens. On the close-up, thick mid to low level cloud over the state. On the satellite, a moving band of low-level cloud lies over the Central Bight. A mid-level cloud band also lies over the northern South Australia, Victoria and New South Wales. Tomorrow, a cold front is crossing the state. A high-pressure ridge will also lie over southern WA and southern Queensland. Northwesterly winds tomorrow 20 to 30 knots, swells up to 4 metres in the west and south and up to 1.5 metres in the north. A strong wind warning is current for all coastal waters with the exception between Wineglass Bay and Tasman Island. A small craft wind alert is also current for the southwest lakes. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart and Oatlands partly cloudy, Maydena 13. In the north, showers are easing for Devonport and Lyowini, and Launceston reaching a high of 15. Burnie and Marrawar a top of 15 tomorrow, 14 in Strahan. St Helens 17 and looking partly cloudy for Swansea and Orford. Looking into the 3-day forecast now: Sunday, showers about the west, far south and Bass Strait Islands extending statewide during the day before mostly clearing in the afternoon. Monday, showers about the west, far south and Bass Strait Islands, mainly fine elsewhere. And finally, Tuesday, showers across the state, snow falls above 600 metres in the west and south from late morning. Capital cities: Perth tomorrow 21, looking mostly sunny in Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane, Darwin 33 and Melbourne showers are developing. And on to current temperatures: Hobart 13 showers, Launceston 13 cloudy and Devonport 14 and cloudy. That's all in weather tonight. Back to you, Jo.
Lovely, thank you very much for that, Jackie. And that's all from the team for now. We will of course see you with updates throughout the evening. Thanks for your company. Bye for now.